Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, and what a week it was. Walk-off celebrations, managers getting hit in those celebrations. The Braves are coming, the Astros are good. Let's talk some baseball. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. It's presented to you by SeatGeek. My name is Jimmy, and we got Trev in California, Jake, and producer BBD in Manhattan. And we got a lot of baseball to discuss. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. A 5-game set in the AL and a 1-game set in the AL. How about that? Pretty
How about that?
Jake, how are you?
James, Trevor, Big Baby David, everyone joining us on what's already become a holiday weekend for most people. Happy 4th coming up. Our society has really, I think after the pandemic, people are truly taking advantage of holidays. The city's like already cleared out. And good. Life's short. Enjoy it. So always excited to dive into the baseball with you guys. Some of the standings are getting tight. Hello, Mets. So excited to yuck it up with you boys, as always. Trev, you got your hot Atlanta hat on from your guy. What's his name?
Carl Lamar. Shout out Carl Lamar. Some people in the chat saying you're already hung over. It's 1 o'clock Eastern. I don't know. That could be true. Could not be true, but I'm excited to talk ball with you guys today. I do want to start the show by talking about my good friend, Tyler Skaggs. It's been 3 years since he passed. Always a very difficult day for me, July 1st, but I like to think about happy times with him, and I think often about how much fun he'd be having with the Angels right now, and maybe they'd be a good team because they got a left-handed starting pitcher, and him and Ohtani would be just best friends, and I'd be best friends with Ohtani. So I'm in an alternate universe, in the next simulation, that'll happen. But shout out my guy, 4-5. I'll be seeing his family later today, but I don't get sad anymore because I know he wouldn't want me to be sad. That's like the truth. So I just choose to remember the good things, and yeah, man, love you, Ty. What's up, James?
It's nice. I don't know what to say. I was going to say sorry, but I don't think we're being sad. So just touching to hear. I'm good. I did want to make an announcement about next week before we even really get into it for the people listening. Next week, there will only be 2 episodes, and the weekend series recap will be on Tuesday and then Friday at the end. Same as normal on Friday, but then no midweek because it's a holiday weekend. And for the first time in 5 years, Jake and I are giving ourselves somewhat of an actual holiday weekend during the baseball season. So that's nice. We're still doing Talkin' Yanks at some point. So no Monday episode.
What are we going to do? No Monday episode. That's when I get my rocks off, people.
I know. And it'll be tough because there'll be Monday games, Tuesday. I think that's why we like the Monday episode. It's clean. There's no we can't talk about that yet. So we'll get through it. It'll be fine.
We find a way to do these Friday ones somehow. So I think we'll be able to do that Tuesday one.
And it'll be like Monday on a Tuesday or that much closer to your next Monday app, Trev.
God, BBD, you're the best. Way to cheer me up.
Whoa. We want to get right into it, right into the National League.
Ready.
Find out what happened.
Who's got it?
Jake's got the NL today.
Come on, Trev.
Papito Gordito leading things off. You guys both look really nice. I'm going to say that, James. The shirt fits you well, bro.
Throwback.
You look like you're going to go play some athletic sports.
I am. I'm going to the warehouse after this to practice out some new pitches. Break a sweat.
Training. And I just threw on my Shady Rays to complete my outfit today.
Yeah, you did.
People on the subway tried to have sex with me this morning because I was wearing my Shady Rays sunglasses.
People or rats?
Rats. But if you go to shadyrays.com and use code Talkin, people, it's 4th of July. You're going to wear sunglasses this weekend. We ran the numbers. 97% of our audience will wear sunglasses this weekend. And you might as well wear Shady Rays. You look fantastic, and they're giving you 50% off 2+ pairs of premium polarized shades. Sometimes I wish shades started with a P, so it could be premium polarized pades, but it's shades because they're sunglasses. Shady Rays, they also give you their lost and broken replacement guarantee. What's that, Jake? If you lose or break your glasses, they're going to send them back to you. These are lifelong glasses from Shady Rays. And again, 50% off 2+ premium pairs of polarized shades. ShadyRays.com, code Talkin. They're the shades of the summer.
Dude, like, did you come up with that rule? Like, it sounds like something you would make up. Like, Jake, do you want to add anything to Shady Rays? Like, yeah, let's replace lost and stolen sunglasses. And they're like, no, that's bad business for us. Why would we do that, Jake? And you're like, no, we need that. And Shady Rays went with it. So everyone can benefit from that. So thank you, Jake. Way to go, man. That's nice of you.
Anytime.
Appreciate you, Jake.
Right out of my pocket.
Big pockets.
Boys, we are heading to the Philadelphia, and we were starting in the NL Beast. The Atlanta Braves are coming, people. Charlie Morton, the Salt Man, his third straight good start. As the Braves take game one, Kyle Wright drops it in the second one. Braves going for the sweep, not so fast, my friend, as Derek Hall hits 2 homers, his first 2 career hits. You might hear more about him later. Teaser! That was a NOLA day. Ion Anderson got hit, but man, my guy Matt Olson went off in the first game with 2 homers. The Braves are coming a huge June, 21-5 for hot Atlanta. The Rockies, they hosted Trevor Plouffe's Dodgers, and they beat them? Oh boy, Rockies take 2 out of 3. They won the first 2 games. Chad Kuhl as the other side of the pillow. You might hear about him later as he drops a complete game shutty against the Dodgers in Coors. That doesn't happen a lot, people. It's not a pretty picture. Shout out. Kyle Freeland, they hit Kershaw in game 2. And then the Dodgers salvaged the series in the last game. A lot of noise about Freddie Freeman and his former agent. We'll dive into that a little bit. A little he said, she said by the seashore. Mookie could return next week. Padres-DBacks, they split 2. Padres, I'm going to start with the second game because it's a little easier. Clev dropped it on the table. 6-inning shutout, 1 hit. And then Nick Martinez, a little 3-inning save. That's his second this week. Is that the future of baseball? I talked with Tom House about it on Twitter. Go check it out. The D-backs won the first game, though. Pure chaos. They come back down from 6-0 to walk it off in the ninth. Messy game. But we play for rings in the desert, so you're not just going to sneak by. Little 2-gamer split. We don't care. Cardinals, Marlins. Cardinals take 2 out of 3. The only game they lost was the final game of the series as our guy Sandy Alcantara, we'll talk about that, I'm sure. Huge go-ahead home run in the ninth from Avisail Garcia off of Hell's Bells. He gets hit for the first time in a while. Sandy goes complete game. Cardinals won the first 2 games before that. Goldschmidt's always going nuts. Yepes. Cards take the series 2 out of 3, but it's always Sandy time. Then a couple stinkers, boys. Cubs take 2 out of 3 from the Reds. Everyone was hitting because that's a series where nobody was pitching except Luis Castillo. This was actually the trade series, Jim. You'll like this. Luis Castillo dropped it in the first game. 6-inning shutout, 11 Ks. Second game, how about Wilson Contreras? 3 hits and a 2-run homer. He could be on the trade block. And in the final game, Kyle Hendricks, 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Where would those boys be playing come October? What accent was that? And in the final series, no one really cares about. Nats hosted the Pirates. They took 2 out of 3. I will say this, it ended on a high note. My guy Bryan Reynolds, a 3 ding-dong day to help carry them to victory. Pat Corbin also dropped dick in one of these games. 8 innings, 12 Ks. Let's go, Corbin. Good to be king of the mountain again. Nats took 2 out of 3, and that's what happened in the National League.
What did Patrick Corbin do? He dropped what?
Oh, he dropped his big old hammer on the mound, man. I'm happy for him.
Did you pick it up?
Almost my standout, but I pulled out, I'll be honest.
Ooh, wow.
It's a little much. It's a little much right there.
Jim, you got those standings?
Yeah, Dodgers stay in first place. Padres gain half a game on the weirdness there. Milwaukee, they stay one game ahead of the Cardinals. So the Cardinals needed that sweep to tie it, it seems. And in the East, it's the closest the gap has been since May 1st. 3.5 games the Braves are behind. Although on a different page on Baseball Reference, it says the Mets are up 3 games. So I wonder if when they use the word up or down, they go on a different like win or loss column, because that weirded me out. I had both pages open. It's 3.5 on the standings I usually always look at.
Same for me. And
yeah,
I'm going to look now too.
Well, if you go to like the Mets schedule, because I wanted to see the last time it was 3, and they have like, you know, the game log of games up and back. And it says today that they're 3 up, but I thought it was 3.5, but I don't know. So, but 3.5, but that's the closest the Braves have been since May 1st. And the Mets had like a 12 at one point. 10.5 was the highest it ever was.
Monster month by the Braves. 21-5, I believe, is the number I saw in the month. And yeah, man, they are going. Matt Olson, who got caught up in some of Freddie Freeman's drama this week, he has a big 2-homer day. A little more of a teaser. You might hear more about him later. Something that stood out for me, the Salt Man, Charlie Morton. His last 3 starts. This one was 5.2, 2 earned. A good start, but it's the worst of his last 3, so he's kind of figured it out after he had a slow start going on. And, yeah, man, I mean, the Braves, full-blown turn it on. I mean, they're sneaking up on the Mets, and I don't think they're slowing down, which I've been juiced up for the NL Central race. I think we can start talking about the NL East race.
21-6 for the Braves in the month of June.
Nailed it.
I think, you know, if you're a Mets fan, you're obviously feeling it. You know, you're saying, well, this happened before last year. Like, is it going to happen again? Take solace in the fact that Scherzer completed this second rehab start. DeGrom's throwing the live hitters. Like, those guys are going to be coming back to you. So, you know, if this race is going to, you know, come down to the wire, at least you're going to have those 2 guys with you. You haven't had them basically all year. So, you know, if you want to find some silver linings and that you're a Mets fan, I think you can go ahead and do that. But the Braves have put themselves right back into this discussion, obviously, with that huge month. And if it wasn't for just a crazy offensive outbreak by the Phillies in the last game, it'd be even closer. So you're all right, Mets fans.
What's going on with Ian Anderson?
Our guy, the last Ion. We were excited because it looked like he might have turned a corner, but he, tough year, man. 15 starts, a 5.31 now. Might have to hit up our guy, Uncle Pete Moylan, on that. He's not an uncle. I do have an Uncle Pete, so when I say that name, I kind of want to say that traditionally, but yeah, man.
It's an awful June for him. Spencer Strider had a good start his last time, not here, but I don't know. The Phillies out of it. I mean, with Harper news and everything else, are they going to try and make some? I was saying, because I want Gallo off the Yankees. I was texting Jake, just the Braves. They should try and see, like, the Braves went and they got 3 struggling outfielders last year, and hoping that they could tap into some, you know, rejuvenation. So I am now hoping the Phillies trade for Gallo in search of like a Braves type outfield to replace Harper, even though he wasn't playing the outfield, but. I haven't watched a lot of the Phillies since. Is there hope, Trev? I know you've been talking to Rosie about this. I know he's been asking you.
I think with Dave Dombrowski at the helm, like, there is hope that they'll continue to push forward and not just, you know, let this season go. I don't think you can do that with the core that they have. Like, this is the window. And, you know, if you're hoping to get Bryce back at some point this year, you got to like tread water, right? You got to make the playoffs. You got, whether it's the last wild card, whatever it is, you kind of got to keep going. And they do have the pieces in place to do it. So it wouldn't surprise me if they went out and got somebody. I don't know if it's going to be a Gallo. But you bring in a guy like Dombrowski to go kind of all in. And I don't think he'd stop now with Harper out. So I think there's still hope there. Obviously Bryce means so much to that franchise and that team. Hard to replace him, but you can sure as hell try. And you can point exactly like you were saying, James, to last year and the Braves and say, look, the same thing happened to them. And they went and retooled the outfield and they ended up on top. So in no way do I think the Phillies are giving up on the season.
As it stands right now, we talked about this a little bit earlier on this week. If you're the Phillies, I think you can you try to retool a little bit. They actually already went out and they got our guy, Oscar Mercado. So, they took a flyer on them. You see what's happening. I know Phillies fans, they want to see a little more Matt Vierling in the outfield. Yeah, right now they're 2.5 games out of the wild card as it stands. And by the way, in the National League, them and the Giants are the two teams on the outside looking in that kind of have a chance. After them, it's a steep drop-off. You're looking at Miami and my Diamondbacks. So if you're the Phillies, you still have a chunk of that starting rotation. You have Kyle Schwarber leading the National League in ding-dongs. You've been waiting for kind of Castellanos, Real Muto to go. You have hope, and I kind of like what you were saying, Jim. You take a couple cheap flyer pieces. If one or two of them connect, and you can stay above that 500 line till Bryce comes back, you're going to have a shot in September.
I don't think you need to give anything up for Gallo either. I think the Yankees just want to hand him off to a safe place so they don't ruin a man's life by DFAing him. I think if another team puts their hand up and says, we'll try him out, the Yankees say, great. They say, what do you want? And you say, oh no, that's good. That's enough. Clear our conscience.
I think you would see that. I think you would see multiple teams going after Gallo as a reclamation project of sorts. It hasn't worked out in New York for him. I don't know specifically, I guess, what the reason is, why he's playing as poorly as he has. But I think many teams would at least go and say, hey, there's still stuff in there. We could figure it out. We trust our coaching staff to help this out. So I don't
want to get into the AL, but the Mariners had an injury and they already made a trade of that sort to replace it. So if the Phillies are going to do something like this, do it. You have to kind of act now.
And Jim, you mentioned that.
Very important to note. Bryce Harper labeled as a fast healer. So we're all good, guys. He might be back in 2 weeks, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a fast healer.
We're going to be talking about Nando in a little bit, by the way. Jimmy, and like you said, Jorge Soler last year. I mean, he had his, a pretty rough 94 games, a 77 OPS plus, hitting 192. He went over to Atlanta, 882 OPS, World Series MVP. Mm-hmm. So there's always a chance. And
wasn't Rosario hurt when they traded for him too? They just went out and figured stuff out.
Get some bodies.
Retool.
And then with the Phillies, Gallo would help their defense, which has been a noted issue, assuming he gets to play right.
Okay.
Ronnie Acuna supposed to come back today. Kenley went to the IL, but he should still be able to throw. He's got his irregular heartbeat stuff going on. And hey, I don't think anyone's talking about it, but Mark Appel. Pretty cool.
How do you do?
1, 2, 3 in the 9th. So he made, if you have no idea, former 1-1 overall pick, had some brutal injuries along the way, gets the call. He's 30 years old. He was the first number 1 pick in 2013. It's 2022. Makes his major league debut. 2 games so far, 2 innings, 0 earned runs. Probably a guy that's easy to root for.
Yes.
I think it got discussed on Farm to Fame that I think came out back half of this week. So
check it out.
A deep dive.
Check it out. Next series is probably Dodgers-Rockies. I mean, we're obviously more tuned in on the Rockies. We got a really awesome performance from our guy Chad Bro. And the Rockies are still a different team at Coors Field, and the Dodgers could have been sleeping. I believe they're playing the Padres this weekend, which is a much important series to them. And man, are we doing Freddie right now? Like, are we going to air this out? Because it's some of baseball's biggest drama in a long time.
We can talk Freddie. It's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think most people saw what came out. Doug Gottlieb, who is like a basketball analyst, tweeted out that Freddie fired his agent, Casey Close, because Casey Close did not tell Freddie about Atlanta's final offer to him. And Doug even added, because Casey Close knew Freddie would take that instead of the Dodger deal, which was for a little bit less money. Since then, I mean, that caused a stir, by the way, because that came on the heels of news that Freddie was looking to change agencies, or he said he was going to be, didn't have one. It was a fluid situation, whatever it was. And then Doug tweets this out. So it caused a major stir, because that's a huge accusation. Since then, Casey Close has come out and put out a statement. Excel, his company's put out a statement denying everything. He said he'd go under oath to deny it. And then you've seen now Damage Control. He's had Dexter Fowler put out a statement. Derek Jeter put out a statement basically saying, like, Casey's been great. And this guy has been an agent for a long time and done a lot of big deals. When I first went, I was at IMG before they sold their team sports program to CAA. So I knew Casey at that point. He's just had a list of guys. So he's a very respected agent around the league. So, I mean, accusation, he denies it. We're kind of there right now, but the truth is, I think Freddie is looking to change representation, and I don't know, what that stemmed from. It could be this, could be not. I don't think we're going to get the truth anytime soon.
Fowler came out and said something.
He did.
Because this happened with Fowler, where the Orioles reporters said that he was basically in an agreement on a 3-year deal, but then it got messed up because of his agent or whatever, and then he signed for less money with the Cubs. But he wanted to go to Orioles, and Casey Close was really mad then. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. It's a weird situation, because if he didn't tell him, that would stink. But the fact that Freeman is changing representation, if that's true, means there's something he didn't enjoy about the process. But also the fact that he has, like, I told Jake, and obviously we hold Derek Jeter in high regard, but if you reach out to Derek Jeter and say, hey, can you defend me here? Like, that's a pretty big ask. Like,
yeah, that's like if you got one bullet in the chamber, you've had that for a long time.
Yeah,
like,
you can't do that. You can't make a fool of Jeter, so, and then Jeter to come out and do it, that's like wins me over, and like, okay, all right, maybe that's true. But then Freddie still firing him, if that's the case, is something.
Yeah. I mean, look, maybe he was a great agent for all these other guys, and like that doesn't mean he couldn't have messed up one time. I'm not saying that it happened. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. These statements are kind of like it's PR damage control type thing. But for his sake, look, if it's not true, that sucks, because this is your career we're talking about. This is like,
did you see like Jeter's statement?
Part of your legacy.
Did you see Jeter's statement?
I read over it. What do you got?
It cracked me up that even like in defending him, Jeter was like very safe. He was like, we have had a lot of disagreements.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying I agree with everything he does. I'm like, all right, Jeet. What
did Jeets get for that tech or that tweet? I want to know. Like, what did Casey give him for that one? Because he, like, again, even if it's 100% true and he's like, I didn't do any of that shit, like, I'll swear under oath, but to get Jeter to come to his defense, I mean, there's got to be something that was promised to Derek, right?
I mean, for Derek to do that, I wonder if he got to see some of the receipts or something like that. Because if I'm Derek Jeter, I'm not just going out there without any evidence or anything like that. And it's funny the way you guys were just talking about Jeter. One of my childhood friends growing up, dad was a very powerful lawyer, and our family always joked, like, that was kind of always our ace in the hole. If one of us got in some real shit, we had one bullet as a family, so nobody screwed up. So still haven't used it, knock on wood. But man, that was crazy. And then, staring it back to the baseball, Freddie, first inning homer the day that all of that was happening, and the only game the Dodgers win in this series. But crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. Baseball getting in the drama game. That's not normally what we do.
A lot of drama. I know, and we got to talk ball here. Eventually, at some point, I want to talk about the Manfred article. I don't know when we can fit that in, but
August 15th.
Let's keep going with the NL, I think.
Yeah. Chad Kuhl, you're going to hear about him later, like I said. And, yeah, Rockies at home. Kelsey Winger was probably at this. This is why they won. You got a 2-game series split, so you boys know I can't fully dive. But the game that kind of needs to be talked about, my Snakes, it's 6-0 into the final inning. Padres, who have been a really good team this year. The Diamondbacks, I mean, one of the messiest ninth innings of this baseball season. We had 2 hit by pitches. All right, it's the 8th leading into the 9th, excuse me. But it was a 6-0 game. Couple hit by pitches to score runs. We got 2 walks before that. Not the prettiest rally you've ever seen, but with 2 outs. 2 outs in the 9th. Single, Christian Walker with the game-winning fielder's choice. Hosmer makes a nice play, but can't make the final play to do it. Kind of pure chaos. The baseball gods rained down on this one a little bit. And then, I mean, almost the bigger Padres news at this point is their City Connects are the talk of baseball today.
They look like my shirt.
A little bit.
I love the comeback by the D-backs. You said down 6-0 in the 7th. They get, double off Minaya. Then they just kind of keep scoring runs. You got to give them credit for continuing to play hard.
Rings.
Even when they're not in it. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to talk about teams right now that I know aren't going to be in the race. Sorry, Jake. Come September.
Couple good weeks before the deadline. Watch out for those.
Clev had the start, the Bob Brenly thing. There's more drama there. I don't know if you want to talk about that. Although I think that was overplayed a little bit. We talked about it on Baseball Today. Brenly was just, kind of making fun of his outfit and telling him to hurry up. And Clevenger shot back at him in the post game. Although it was Brenly and his other guy. They were kind of both talking about Clev there.
He's got a history of saying much worse stuff than that about Clev. So the Tatis comments and the Machado cons tip the scale into not just playful, but kind of some just bad thought lines. But that one, I don't know. You're allowed to make fun of what Clev does on the mound, right? Unless it's ticks, Joey Gallo suffers from facial ticks and cameras zoom in way too much for me. I'm like, guys, you got to know this. And they just put a picture on the post and that's fucked up. So I don't know. If Luis Garcia, Clevenger, if they're just doing that to get a rhythm, I think it's fair game to be that's silly, man, and funny.
Luis Garcia does a fully fake windup before doing a completely normal baseball windup. Which, Clev's tap dance.
I'm watching the Diamondbacks walk off right now.
Yeah,
and they got Walker putting the bubblegum crown on that bald head, and it works for him. I kind of like that.
Okay.
Diamondbacks, if you want to continue some sort of celebration, the bubblegum crown is it's kind of working for me.
And I told you boys I had big news. Tatis came out happy from his doctor's appointment and is expected to swing full speed in the next 2 weeks. So pretty huge.
What?
Did I stop?
What was the second half of that? I know people think the first half is the jarring part. What was this? Is that the second half of that? Was it a real update?
Expected to be swinging a bat full speed in the next 2 weeks.
That's nothing. In the next 2 weeks?
Yeah.
James, they're letting him field fly balls and ground balls now too.
They need to stop. So this is what the Yankees did for 2 seasons, and then they stopped. They need to stop this. Whoever the Padres PR or whoever's giving these, people aren't dumb. That's nothing. a 2-week timeline to swing the bat, you're just saying shit to say shit. Like, tell me the day he swings a bat, other than until he swings a bat, say there's no update. I don't understand what's going on there.
He's going full speed off the tee in
the next 14 days, he may swing a bat. He's
going full speed off the tee, and then in 10 days from a machine. Let's see. If that goes smoothly, a rehab assignment. Jeez, Jake. Come on. Tap into your wind horse. Is expected to follow that. So we will see.
No update at this time, a.k.a.
They're hoping for after the All-Star break for Texas.
Slow healer, unlike Bryce Harper.
Different.
It's ridiculous.
Cards hosted the Marlins for Tree. They took the first two.
They had the best starter ERA in the NL this week. And Palante, he's a cool story. I was just reading up about him because I didn't really know that name. Started as a rookie in the bullpen and now getting starts.
Yeah, he's kind of
pitching well. He throws weird.
This year's Ranger Suarez, people are talking. And on the other side of the spectrum, how about Adam Waino? Just another 7 shutout. 9 Ks. He's punching tickets. It's not like he's not out there Sergio Romo tricking him. I mean, I guess he is, but he's nasty. He's also not getting my standout. Sorry, Cardinals fans. His career resurgence is insane. Like, I remember we were excited when Big CC kind of tapped back in and he found a new way to pitch. And it was like, all right, but CC was good. Adam Wainwright is dominant over the past 3 years. 58 starts, a 3.07 ERA. And that's his current ERA in the season. So, what a sicko.
Juan Yepes, 2 homers, 5 RBIs. I saw my guy Xavier Scruggs do a little demo on him and about what he's been doing. They're calling him Pujolcito.
Whoa, careful with that.
I guess Pujols has been taking him under his wing a little bit there, and there's some similarities. You can kind of see it if you do a side-by-side, but I love stories like that. When a guy, I've been saying this for a long time. You bring in those veteran hitters like that know what the hell's going on and have been around that can help young guys. This is what happens, man. Like, think about that. Think about if you could just get hitting lessons from a guy like a world-class hitter. Like, sounds like it'll help you out a little bit, right?
This is how you're asking me for blitzball tips. It's just not the time.
I tried to steal you away from team baggage. Jimmy said that's illegal.
Yeah, he did. He asked what the price was, Jim. I said there's no money in this world that could take me away from you.
That's a lie, by the way.
If there's a number.
You did not say that.
I didn't say that verbatim. But, yeah, the final game was pretty badass. Alcantara goes for the...
just relax on Alcantara.
Okay, Fish win. Cubs, Reds. Transition. That's how you do it in the biz. Everyone hit this series. Luis Castillo drops it, which, hey, hopefully he's a cool story in a couple weeks. Like I said, the trade guys, Wilson Contreras, he has a big game too. And then Hendricks, a solid start in the final game. But, yeah, Morel went nut job this series. Contreras, Wisdom, Joey Votto's making new friends and hitting homers all the time. So that's kind of what's going on. But this series doesn't.
It's a trade showcase.
It doesn't matter till the deadline, really. And then,
this is I'm looking at all these names here in our notes. They are all guys that are probably going to be on other teams. Brandon Drury, go ahead RBI double in the 6th. Jonathan India, guess what, buddy? You're not going anywhere. Sorry, just kind of hang out there. But yeah, Luis Castillo, Contreras. My goodness. Okay.
There is a cool, the ball boy at Wrigley and Rafael Ortega have become friends. If you like that side of baseball, that's always a good time. Fabian, they posted some fake stats, which I liked. They said he had a perfect fielding percentage.
74 opportunities, 100%.
Sometimes life's dumb and you got to lean into it. Final series, I'll let you boys get your hot takes off. Nats, Pirates, 2 out of 3. Bryan Reynolds deserves to be talked about, and he might be talked about later. Teaser.
Not getting traded. Everyone needs to stop saying that about Bryan Reynolds, but we can save that for later too.
Yeah.
I was doing my random Patrick Wisdom checkup.
Yeah.
Okay, bro.
Yeah.
Let's
go a little bit right now. 16 bombs. The on-base percentage isn't there, but with those bombs, the slugging percentage is. You got a 790 OPS.
Trev, I think, I know you and Patrick Wisdom were compared facially a little bit. He might be a different you in this simulation where none of that stuff the Twins tried to teach you, and they were just like, hit bombs, bro. Because he's got the most strikeouts in the last year, but he hits ding-dongs. And I know you've got the juice. Like, Patrick Wisdom might be the continuation of you.
Oh, he's a good-looking guy.
That's what was important.
He's played. You're right. He's played every damn position: third base, first base, and all 3 outfield positions. Sounds like me.
Yeah.
Me and Patrick Wisdom. We need to have a drink. Maybe I'll buy him a bottle of wine instead of Ian Happ.
Oh no.
Wow.
Patrick Wisdom, slow start there. Basically went 0 for the first week. Since then, 850 OPS.
Miggy,
April 15th on.
Miggy Yahoo and O'Neal Cruz had fun in the first game. They were, the big super prospect O'Neal Cruz basically left the stadium. That dude's a freak show. Yahoo was part of the Taillon trade. Quintana actually has a good start this time, and I'm not confusing him with Carlos Rodon, so that's huge. And he could be a trade deadline piece. And yeah, Corbin straight up dropped it. 8 innings, 12 punches. Jim, I know you like a good pitch mix. You know what he did? He threw that good pitch. He threw a slider, the high this season, 45%. So if Patty Corbin can get it going, I don't know. I love a guy searching for rock bottom. I see him in the mirror every morning, and Pat Corbin might be finding his way out of it.
Miguel Rojas, 96.7% zone contact, just to let you know.
He's different. He sat in this very seat I'm in right now.
Do you know how crazy that is?
It's hard.
If he swings at a pitch in the zone, 97% of the time he's going to make contact with it.
Hot wood.
We talked about today on Baseball Today about how the Pirates had 3 different players have a 3-run homer game or 3-homer game in June. So I'm like, okay, you got that going on. It's back-to-back nights because it happened last night, not in this series you're talking about. I was like, dude, are the Pirates like kind of getting it going? You got O'Neal Cruz hitting bombs. Like, they're calling themselves like Lumberjack City or something like that? As I was listening to some highlights, they were 10-18 in June. I mean, there's some things to get excited about, I guess. I don't think they should trade Bryan Reynolds. I'm with you on that one, James. There are some guys coming up, but still tough. Wins are still tough to come by over there in Pittsburgh.
Might hear more about BR in a little
They're having
bit.
fun, though.
Jim,
there's some things to watch.
You've got the American League?
I do. I can tell you all about the American League. I'm a well of knowledge for these 3 games only. Ready? The Guardians take 3 of 5 from the Twins with walk-off wins in games 4 and 5. It was risky. It was scary. They could have walked away from this, giving the Twins a big lead, but they hang on. The Twins got 10 homers from 9 guys. They hit the shit out of the ball, but their defense failed them in big spots, and Josh Naylor is a psycho. The Yankees welcomed the A's to the Bronx, swept them right out. In games 1 and 2, they spotted the A's a lead just to make things more interesting. In 1 and 3, in game 2, they shut them out with the rookie making a spot start. Then the Yankees went on to play the Astros in a 1-game series. Nice little pitcher's duel between 2 Luises. Astros end up winning 2-1. There was a weird play where Tucker tried to steal home while Sevy was fixing his pitch comm and then realized it and simply threw him out. But the Astros win. Now they have the season series over the Yankees. The Blue Jays took 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox. Gossman returned to form. Vladdy hit a walk-off. Alejandro Kirk remains their secret weapon. Red Sox were without Tanner Houck, who's not vaccinated, and they blew 2 saves in the series, but they refused to get swept. They took Game 3 in extras. The Angels and all their suspensions hosted the White Sox and won the bread games with good starts from Thor and Shohei. Tapara and Iglesias both got suspended. They both appealed. They both pitched clean 8 and 9 in the 2 games the Angels won. So good appeal. Good appealing. Good use of the appeal. White Sox don't have a player with 10 home runs. The Orioles won Game 1 in Seattle, but the Mariners outpitched and out-hit them in Games 2 and 3 to win the series. Lots of good pitching from a lot of the starters on both sides of the ball in that one. And the Mariners all appealed their suspension, so no one served it yet. That'll be tricky when that has to happen. The Rangers won their first 2 games against the Royals, but they were shut down by old man Greinke in the 3rd game. The trade pieces Texas grabbed in the offseason, they all combined to kind of like put it together. Simeon, Seager, John Gray. And for the Royals, rookie Kyle Isbell hit his 1st and 2nd career homers. How about that?
James, I like these notes. Is this all you?
Yep.
Nice notes we're looking at right here.
I studied.
What are the standings?
The standings are kind of the same shit. The Twins are a game up. They could have really opened it up a bunch on the Guardians, who were coming on a 5-game losing streak, or a 4, and then they lost Game 1. But that is a 1-game division right now with the Guardians behind the Twinkies. The Astros have an 11.5 game lead in the West, with the rest of that division not mattering. Like, no wild card contention right now, I don't believe. I don't know if you're going to get any. And in the East, the Yankees are in first place. They're now 12.5 up on second place Boston and Toronto. And the Rays dropped to 15 games out of first. So
that's wild. The way Boston has played, and you are still 12.5 games out. I mean, essentially, like what Atlanta did and what Boston have done in the month of June are like almost identical, right? Maybe a little less with Boston, but Atlanta's made up a bunch of games, and the Red Sox, I think even went down games. It's tough.
It is.
But they put themselves in a good position in the wild card, so I guess that matters.
Crazy things can happen in the AL, but it's looking like there's going to be no race at all. And it's just Cleveland and Minnesota for division. I don't think the White Sox are going to come back out of this. I mean, some of the stuff they're doing is so bad.
It's really bad. The last wild card, I think, or last couple wild cards might.
What happens is you get teams like the Mariners last year and another team that, like, they're like, they're not mathematically eliminated, and then they keep winning, but in the end, like last year, we called it at the All-Star break what the teams would be, and they were that, but there was some fun in the AL. The AL is looking. Is it 7 teams or is it 8 teams?
As far as what?
Make the playoffs now?
6 teams per division, per league.
Well, I guess Tampa might be on the outs then.
Tampa and Cleveland are tied for the last wild card spot right now. We'll see how that goes. Let's get into these games, bro. Where do you want to start? Twins, Guardians?
Yeah, that was the best series. I mean, they had to play 5 games in 4 days. They had a doubleheader. The Twins won Game 1 and then Game 3. And they could have really, then they could be 3 games up and all that. And Guardians come back to win both on walk-offs in the 10th inning by Naylor, who then headbutts Francona. I don't know if you saw that. I think everyone saw that. Pretty hilarious. Like Tito put on a helmet just because he knew he was going to headbutt him. and then Jimenez gets him the next day. The Twins out-hit the shit out of them. The Twins had 51 hits in these 5 games, and the Guardians had 28. The Twins slugged 503. I guess the Cleveland slugged 545, but it's just timely hitting. And then it was the Twins defense. Like, I watched all the condensed games. They had 2 pass balls. One was called a wild pitch by Gary. It's a pass ball, his glove, and the other one hit the other catcher's glove. And both of those led to runs. They led to infield coming in and then runs. Arise was on his ass trying to turn double play. Should have ate the ball, threw it into right field. That led to 2 runs. Correa was on his ass and then threw it to third to try and get the out. Should have ate the ball. That led to a run. So the Twins just did themselves in with defense. The pitching wasn't awful, and the hitting was great. They just kind of gave the Guardians a chance to capitalize on bad defense. And the big thing on the other side is the Twins got to Eli Morgan 3 times in a row. If they meet up down the stretch, he's been a stud reliever for the Guardians. So for the Twins to get to him 3 games in a row he's like a nothing to them right now, which is a good feeling.
I love that you pointed that out. I think that will matter later on, for both teams' psyche. Hopefully Morgan kind of gets over it, but the Twins getting to him, that definitely means something. And yeah, the defense wasn't good. Right now, Twins Twitter is just clamoring. We need relievers. We need relievers. We need relievers. You're putting, Jarrell Cotton out there, Thornburg in the game yesterday. I know he's a guy that goes multiple innings, but he's out there, 48 pitches deep in the 9th. He's walking dudes. I think in the 8th inning, he hit someone, walked 2 guys, then the Correa play happened. So you're putting base runners on, giving them free passes, and the defense doesn't work behind you. It's a recipe for a disaster. And then Jimenez hits the walk-off homer, and Dick Bremer has the all-time call. Just what did he say? Something like we cannot get out of here fast enough, or we're sick of the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah.
Just deadpans it. And that is how Twins Twitter has been feeling. I'm deep in it right now. They're definitely calling for reliever help, but guess what? A lot of teams are. That's what I'm saying. Like, you want help, but you got to go get it, and you got to give up a lot. So we'll see if they get it. They need it bad.
It's Twins Twitter was talking about how brutal the Taylor Rogers for Chris Paddock and Emilio Pagan trade has been for them. Paddock goes down with TJ, so that stuff. Pagan, I know my win probability added gang is with me. That's the part of Twitter I normally live on. I think via win probability added, Emilio Pagan would be the 5th best player on Cleveland this year. He's blown some tough ones. So we're as we talk about our guy on Cleveland that's been their setup guy getting rocked. Pagan was supposed to be part of the solution in Minnesota, and not so much right now. So yeah, I still think, and I didn't chime in when you guys were talking AL Central. I know the vibes with the White Sox are atrocious, but you still just can't in baseball write them off yet. The Braves, I think on August 1st last year, were 52-55. So I know it's felt awful and gross, but man, I mean, even a good week in the White Sox would be back in the AL Central race. So don't get me wrong, I realize how disgusting it is, and I'm not sure I know why Tony La Russa is still the manager, besides the owner feeling bad about getting rid of him 40 years ago or whatever. But I don't know. None of these teams make me feel anything great right now. I just like Cleveland because they're young, hot boys.
I like Cleveland's pitching, and I like they have the highest contact rate, and then they got a bunch of young, athletic guys out there. But did you see this stat I put in here that the Guardians' comeback wins versus the Twins are the most in a season since 1974, being down more than 2 runs in the 8th inning?
Thanks, Emilio.
Like, that stinks for the Twins. They just can't escape. They can't feel comfortable. And then, yeah,
they've actually banged the ball around too. Like, they're like top 5 offense right now if we're going off of weighted runs created plus, or I think it's OPS plus. That's the stat I was looking at. But it's been the problem for a long time. The starting pitching is, it's had its moments during the year. but it's getting exposed over a long season. Like that's what happens during a baseball season.
It was good.
The bullpen's been faltering, and yeah,
they're without their pitching coach now. But they all said nice things about him. I mean, not to knock that pitching coach, but like whatever. That's a rude thought. They were listing all his accolades, and they were like, the Twins have been 10th in WAR for pitchers and 14th in pitcher ERA the last decade. I'm like, those aren't good numbers. I'm not knocking him, but the stats they were using in the article were making me laugh. Like that's middle of the pack.
Depends what you're working with.
His first couple years, they got up there like top 7, top 5, stuff like that. Last year in 2021, it's like a huge step backwards.
Yeah, but I mean, for the last 6 years,
helped.
It's been pitching. Been the main issue with the Twins.
For a long time. But it's hard to get pitching.
I know. He might be doing the best he can with them. And Archer and Sonny Gray all said the nicest things. Like Archer was like, he's the best pitching coach I've ever had. And Sonny Gray said that he's retooled me. And I thought I was like, done. So Dylan Bundy had a good start. So that's probably all of that. Buxton has 52 home runs in his last 162 games. And when they told him that stat, he was very impressed with himself. Which, because he doesn't count his homers. Like he didn't know he had 100. He's like, I don't track. He's like, I just don't keep track of myself. But then when the reporter told him that, he was like, oh, that's cool.
And he could have had many more if they stopped telling him to get his freaking foot down and hit the ball to second base. My goodness, man.
I too don't keep track of myself, Bucks. Birds of a feather.
Yankees sweep the A's?
Oh,
yeah. I mean, the A's are an interesting team to watch right now. They were just like careless because they can be. Like they got thrown out twice, and the Yankees catchers don't have like good arms. They got backpicked once. They got to early leads, and then the Yankees got to their bullpen. I think their bullpen's pretty brutal. Montes pitched well in his start. I'm interested to see. I think he should get moved. Elvis, Ramon, Noisy had a good series. And Oakland was one of 2 AL teams to not hit a homer this week.
That's a crazy stat.
You want to guess the other?
The Orioles.
No, they had 5 in one game.
Yeah, that's a bad guess.
You'll just have to find out later. It was the Rays.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I see, Chapman coming back. What role does he take right away? Are they going to ease him into something, or is he going straight to the 9th? Like, what are we doing?
He's not going to the 9th.
Guys in the back.
He's not going to the 9th, but he may go to the 9th if the better lane is ahead of him, and that might be how they try to sneaky it a little bit. Like they said that Clay Holmes will get the most high leverage bats, if the top of the order, if it's Bichette, Vladdy, Springer, whatever in the 8th, and Clay Holmes will get that lane in a close game.
Doesn't he struggle in non-save opportunities?
He does. He's going to be
past.
He does, and his whole persona is a closer. Like that's who he is. So
yeah,
it's going to be very interesting.
It's
they did.
He gets activated today, and there's a couple things going on. Like he did a rehab assignment, which Chappie's kind of been against that in the past. So with how good Clay Holmes has been, I think Chappie's kind of looked in the mirror and he sees that the fastball doesn't sit 102 anymore. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know, a 6th inning, Aroldis Chapman up 4 runs. Is he going to be able to be the dude he's been? Or, is it going to become just straight up weird? And the Yankees got a couple weeks to find that out.
Interesting. Yeah. We thought he was going to come up 2 days ago, but they must have known Miguel Castro was going to go on the paternity list. So they just pushed him because now they don't lose a body because they would have had the DFA someone. So I love roster funny business.
Ryan Weber surviving.
I saw his car when he was leaving the AA like rehab stint. Like he literally drives a tank. That's bulletproof everywhere, right? Like,
oh yeah, it's white. Everything's white. Yeah.
No. This is like a black, matte black tank.
Yeah.
With gas prices where they're at right now, I mean, maybe he's got to think about driving something else. I don't know.
How much has Aroldis Chapman made playing baseball? Quick.
$100 million.
I'm going to say, I don't think 100 million. I think like high 80s.
Well, what was his contract with the Yankees? That'd be like 50.
Well, this Yankee contract is 85.
Aroldis Chapman has made 132. So not sure he's too worried about.
Go ahead and drive your tank around, playa.
Not too worried about gas prices. A stink.
Yeah, it was the best team in the AL record-wise versus the worst team in the AL record-wise, and it was a sweep. Yankees.
Donaldson, was there any like Donaldson stuff with the A's? Like sometimes he likes to do that, like just give a big FU to the A's.
He had a good series. He had
big
a double in every game. Yeah. So he played, but and he played good defense. So, but yeah, I was kind of talking about that, like he hates them and all that shit, but
he hates them.
Yeah, I know. So I'm trying to. Yankees are 24-12 against teams above 500, which is the best in baseball, and 32-9 against teams below 500, which is the best in baseball. Pretty insane season.
727 winning percentage. Whoops.
Yep, they did lose to the Astros in the one game.
Lost to the Astros.
Yeah, Astros are good. Astros are definitely the most balanced. They're the best team the Yankees have played, bar none. Like the Rays, Boston, and the Blue Jays, all, at least from the times that I've seen and played against them, all a step below the Astros, whose bullpen can be really good, even though the Yankees got them twice. Every spot in the lineup does something, even though they don't really put it together that well, but their starting pitching is so good. And their defense is good. They don't make a lot of mistakes.
Chris Rose stat, the New York little series they had, combining the Mets and the Yankees, the Astros go 7-2. I believe they gave up 21 runs, and 13 of them came in those two walk-off losses to the Yankees. So, like, this was a huge little test for them, and they passed with flying colors. I mean, you go 500 against those two teams.
Yeah, don't lump the Yankees in with the Mets.
Well, but at the time, they had the best record in the National League, and the Yankees had the best record in the American League. I mean, you tell me, if you told the Astros you're going to go 7-2 in that set, they'd be like, okay, I like that.
I agree. I'm just saying it's not like they blew. I don't know what the Mets score. It's not like they blew the Yankees. Like every game came down to the last inning, or like was a 3-run game.
Yankees went.
I'm not saying they're like better than.
Like I don't feel as a Yankees fan, I don't feel steamrolled by them.
No,
they're two very good teams.
Yankees went 22-6 in June. 3 of those losses are to Houston, in 5 games. So yeah, I mean, right now the Yankees and Houston in the AL are just on a different level. The Dodgers, I think in the National League, are on another level. The Mets, I mean, especially Scherzer should be coming back for his next start. Does DeGrom come back? And then, I think as we approach the trade deadline, the fun conversations for me are going to be like, does Toronto, are they going to make a jump or upgrades? Boston, can they make a significant move? Chris Sale rehabbing for them. The Padres, does Tatis come back and look like Tatis? Like, who can join the Yankees, Astros, Dodgers, and Mets, healthy Mets, on that kind of top tier of baseball teams? Because they really do. The eye test is kind of unreal. Like, those teams are built different.
Yes. Speaking of the Red Sox, they were without Tanner Houck, which made headlines because he's not vaccinated. And the Rays, who are going to Toronto now, are without 2 relievers as well. They lose. They blow 2 saves. They end up winning one of the games where they blew the save. But the other guys had to pitch so much that I hope it doesn't hinder them moving forward. Like Strahm had to throw a season high 41 pitches in one outing to close it out. Brazier threw 47 pitches in back-to-back nights. His prior high was 29. So that stinks, man. Like your fucking guys are hung out to dry. You can't go to Toronto. Toronto hit 11 doubles. That was the most in the AL. They had the highest slugging in all of the AL. Their starting pitching is returning to form. Striplin got put in the rotation as a sixth starter because they're in a hectic stretch right now, the Blue Jays, and he's pitched well since returning the rotation. So, Blue Jays take 2 out of 3. The Red Sox hang tight and win the last one. But I'm interested to see how the Red Sox do. I've obviously said this. They have the Cubs coming up. Then they have just a brutal stretch of Toronto, Tampa, New York, Toronto, Tampa, New York. And when they come out of that, I think is when we'll know what this Boston team is. Because I understand they're better than the start of the year, absolutely. But they were doing it against lesser teams.
When does Whitlock return for them? He's got to be nearing a return. That's another great piece for them. I got it pointed out to me and C Rose as well. We talked about this, vaccination thing with Hauk, and Cora said it's definitely going to change by the postseason, which is an interesting take there. I will kind of get into that. But people in Toronto wanted me to make sure to let everybody know that we have the same policy here in the U.S. So they have to have everybody vaccinated there to come play, or else there'd be some sort of quarantine period. So they said they're at a little bit of, because I said on the show, I said this could be a huge advantage to the Blue Jays, especially come playoff times if you can't bring some of your guys. But they said, hey, think about this. We have to have all of our guys vaccinated to come play. We have a smaller player pool to go after people at the trade deadline because we have to make sure they're vaccinated. So they wanted me to make sure, because we keep saying it's Toronto, it's Canada's, policy, COVID policy, but they wanted me to make sure that we have the same policy here and that they're at some sort of a disadvantage because of the player pool that they can go after has to be vaccinated. So I want to make that clear.
Yeah. The GM, what's his name, of the Blue Jays, he said that at the start of the season. He was doing an interview. He was laughing. He was like, we have an advantage. I couldn't sign players I wanted to sign.
You had to ask them, are you going to be vaccinated? Can you get vax for me, bro?
Yeah.
How much is a vaccination worth? I'm wondering if like at the beginning of the season and, you got an offer from the Red Sox.
Well, Trevor Story, they mandated that he get vaccinated as part of signing with the Red Sox. So however much money he got, it was worth that much.
And by the way, Chris Sale, after making his rehab appearance, supposedly looked pretty good, hitting low to mid 90s. And then after his rehab, they asked him about his vaccination status, and his response was, hey, I'm just trying to enjoy this moment. So if the Red Sox next trip to Toronto, yeah, man, I like the way you phrased it, man. Because wherever you stand on that, whatever, not even into the conversation, but leaving your pitching teammates out to dry, you're coming in a couple men short this weekend, fuck that. As a competitor. So Alejandro Kirk leading the Blue Jays in WAR. Whoops.
He's awesome. Stripling had some good quotes. They pinch hit him to start the 9th, and he gets a hit to start the comeback. He's 4 for 10 as a pinch hitter. And then Vladdy called his walk-off. He told Montoya beforehand, like, hey, it's over. And Gossman owns the Red Sox. So right now, if it ends, the Red Sox would have to go to Toronto to play the Blue Jays. So are they without players? Is Gossman starting because he's got 21 innings pitched against him this year with only 1 earned run? And he looked nasty again.
So 2 things. Everybody always promises the coach they're going to walk it off. So I always laugh when these things come up, because a lot of times they don't, and we don't hear about that.
Coach,
we definitely hear about what happens.
I'm probably going to get my ticket punched here. Don't hold it against me.
Do you know how many times I told someone I'm going to hit a home run this at bat? Pretty much every single time I fucking took an at bat, I said I'm going to hit a home run this at bat. Number 2, Jason in the chat corrected me. He said, Cora said by September, things will change. So what does that mean? Does that mean he's had conversations? He's like, how bad did you feel leaving your teammates out to dry? Like, go get pricked? I don't know, man. But if you make that decision, and I believe that everyone's free to choose for themselves. If you make that decision preseason, you're going to let a series sway your thought process? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
I don't know.
And I've got
pressure, huh?
I've got a little tag teamer on the Blue Jays that both of you lads will like. Everyone on the Toronto Blue Jays starting lineup has a OPS plus of over 100. And a part of the reason for that, Trev, your boy Matty Chapman has started to get it going, which I know how much lead he puts in your pencil. So
he does. I mean, yeah, you're right. He does.
Yeah.
I got a man crush on Chappie. He knows that. It's probably why he keeps me like arm's length. He's like, you know what? You're just a little too much for me, bro.
Yeah.
Before I move on, baseball-wise, Toronto, they intentionally walked Dahlback, I think, to load the bases.
Oh.
They were down by 1 run, and that was to end the 8th, I believe, maybe the 7th, and they got the double play to get out of it. So, risky move that paid off, and then they came up and win it in the 9th. So, baseball.
Love that.
Good job. The White Sox and the Angels. The Angels, they take 2 out of 3. They had to play suspension roulette, so like the relievers appealed, and the acting manager, because Nevin's accepting his, so then the Ray Montgomery has to wait because he got a game or 2 as well, and then they'd be down to like their 4th in line. Trout pointed out that the pitcher was tipping his pitches. That was a storyline and pretty funny. Trout looked kind of fed up. Ohtani shoved again, really good start. Thor had a really good start, and the White Sox don't have 10 players with a homer. There's only 2 teams in the AL, maybe in baseball, that don't have a single player that has double-digit home runs. The Detroit Tigers and the Chicago White Sox.
If you would have told me that stat at the beginning of the year, I said you're absolutely insane. I said they're going to have 10 players with 10 home runs.
Yeah, I don't know what has to happen, man. It's like a lot. For the Angels, this was the first time they won consecutive home games since May 20th. So it made me laugh.
That's a crazy stat.
Go Halos.
Over a month.
Yep. And they advance to 6-12 in 1-run games. Not a good stat.
I see the bright side there.
The Shohei stuff is kind of crazy what he's done. There was a lot of tweets about it. He hasn't given up a run in how many innings? Like a lot. Three different starts, something like that. Hitting bombs the whole time. I brought up yesterday, like Shohei's probably sooner than later going to be the front runner for AL MVP. Got a lot of backlash from Yankees Twitter about that. I want to hear your guys' take. I know Aaron Judge has been a monster at the plate this year. You still think Shohei do you think Shohei is going to win the MVP by the end of the year if he just kind of continues the path that he's on?
I'm pulling up his stats because I haven't seen him.
If he can,
his last 2 starts really.
Yeah,
he's turned it on.
If he continues his recent pace, then yes, because he's 2 players. He's an elite starting pitcher. He's an elite hitter.
Yes, I absolutely. I mean, the last time we had this conversation, he had a 3.6 or maybe a 3.9 ERA. It's down to 2.68 with his last 3 starts. So, yes, if he has an ERA under 3.5, and then his offensive numbers are an OPS that starts with 8. It starts with 8. Then yeah, he's a lock. I like the valuable part in that old school way. I know it's never been that way, except when like Kirk Gibson got it in the 80s. It was truly, he got it for being valuable. His stats weren't good.
There's a lot of people are saying that he's just on a bad team. We have to take that into consideration. I don't believe in that. If you go back to 2000, since 2000, there's only been 1 MVP that's also won the World Series. And you guys know who that is.
Jake Storiale.
Or even has made the playoffs.
It's Altuve, which people believe he stole the MVP and the World Series from.
Give me another award. Give me another award, and we'll call it, this team doesn't make the playoffs without this guy, whatever that acronym is, award.
Okay.
Like if you took this, and if the Angels were to make the playoffs, I think if you took Shohei off, he'd single-handedly be the difference maker.
Right.
But like, if you were to take this one guy off, the odds drop from this to this. And give me that award, and it's totally separate. MVP, as we know it, Shohei has it. If you did,
yeah, I think the one thing Angels fans keep saying that makes a lot of sense for me, as far as like you're talking about value, is that Shohei is essentially two players only taking up one roster spot. So you're essentially having a 27-man roster now because he's a guy that can do both sides.
It's invaluable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, second most WAR on his team. So
I know that's the craziest shit is we're not talking about freaking Mike Trout because he just he lulls us to sleep with greatness. Think about that. We're going to get Shohei Ohtani fatigue at some point. I don't have it yet. I know some people already have it. But Mike Trout has been so great for so long that we sleep on this dude. Like we're like, oh my God, this guy's got a 1.0 OPS. He's having the best year. Like, go check him out. He's the next big thing. Mike Trout's like, I've been doing this shit for 12 years.
Angels.
Mike Trout, I love you, bro.
Angels 3-1 since the brawl. Are they galvanized? 3 at Houston coming up.
Squid with his 5th homer on the season. Just swing for the fences. Speaking of the brawl, the Mariners were on the other side. They lose the first game after the brawl to the Orioles. They're a little like tired and fatigued and maybe too excited. And the Orioles are scrappy and good. They hit 5 home runs. They hit back-to-back home runs in consecutive innings, which is a weird factoid. But Seattle has now won 7 of its past 9. They will need to go 11-5 in order to reach the All-Star break above 500. Jake, do you think they can go 11-5 in their next 16? They just won 7 of 9.
After I declared them dead.
Since Trevor Plouffe declared them dead. Both of these teams are getting hot since the brawl. Yeah, why not? You know, I want, let's get a couple more stirrups in baseball. Get your team hot.
Oh, now that I guess they won yesterday against Oakland, who they've like handled pretty easily, I think, this season. Maybe I'm wrong there. So now they have to go 10-5.
Yeah, they have kind of a mixed bag schedule too. They have Oakland, then they have at San Diego, they play Toronto at home, and then Washington and Texas to end it. So it could happen. I want the Mariners to be good. I want them to get to 500 before the All-Star break. I don't think it's going to happen. I still think they're dead. The head's on the spike.
Well, Robbie Ray's been good. He's got 27 innings pitched, 2 earned runs in his last 4 starts. He's been really good. He's still continuing with that sinker over the 4-seam fastball. Julio Rodriguez is running away with AL Rookie of the Year right now. He's like first or tied for first in every offensive category. And then on the Orioles side, they went 500 in May and June, 28-28. They had like a really bad April. They're better than their record. And Mullins is really fun to watch.
Sure is.
Yes, he is.
Patrol center field.
Dean Creamer has been nasty since coming back up.
Good
the Rangers.
We still got another series.
What's that?
We still got another series.
Yeah, the Rangers and the Royals. John Gray's been good his last 6 starts. That's good news for the Rangers. Simeon's been good ever since he got his first home run. He's like a top 25 offensive player since he got that. And then Seager and Simeon had multi-hit games in the same game for the 4th time, and they both got multi-hit games and RBIs first time ever. Oh, this is what I wanted to ask you guys about the Royals. Greinke, will he get traded? He came off the IL, 2 good starts in a row. He's got postseason experience. He's a free agent coming up. Does he want to get traded? He probably has no trade clause, and maybe he's just not into the postseason. That would be very Jack Greinke-like. Benintendi has to get moved. He had 2 hits in every game this series, and is just, I think, going to crush it until he gets moved, and then maybe continue. But I hadn't thought about Greinke as a pickup.
You don't sign a 1-year 13 with the Royals and put a no trade clause in there. I don't know, man. That doesn't seem right to me. I don't think he has one. And I think that maybe he's wanted to go to the Royals to figure some things out, and then go to a contender. That seems about right for me. I can't. First of all, I don't know what Zach Greinke is thinking. He thinks differently, and no doubt about that. But I don't think he's got a no trade clause. I guess we could look that up, Beavers, if you want to. But
even if he did, it would just because he would want to say over where he goes, right?
Yes, I think that. God, does he go back to Houston? Do they even need him? Like,
why not?
Somewhere he's familiar with, I feel like is where he'd want to go. I don't know if he has enough control over that, but
yeah, and I don't know. Zach Greinke, the reason we're almost tiptoeing is because nobody knows kind of what's going on upstairs. He's a beautiful creature. I mean, he's played on a lot of teams. It's not like he was kind of this scared homebody. He talks about, I think he's openly said he's not like a New York City guy, but he played on the Dodgers for 3 years, Milwaukee, Kansas City, my Snakes, Houston. So, yeah, I'll put Zach Greinke on trade watch. I just think, if you're Yankees or Mets and you start doing Greinke rumors, that's when that is not true.
I don't see anything about
they already
no
traded
trade.
Carlos Santana, so
Play by Carlos Santana.
Make your moves. That's
it's
the
July
AL.
now, people. Let's go. Let's get these trades going.
AL complete.
All right, you know who's got the IL, baby. My people, let me tell you what happened. We kind of mentioned this already, but the Astros went into New York against the Mets in a 2-gamer, and they swept them, and this one was all Astros. Astros starting pitchers went 16 shutout innings, 9-1 Astros, and then 2-0 Astros. Framber, 8 shutty in game 1. He went up against Cookie. Not a great start for him. 4 1/3, 6 earned runs. A lot of it happened in the first. Bregman with the RBI single, and Tucker, Abe Lincoln, look-alike 3-run homer. Alvarez and Gurriel added homers in that one as well. Verlander, 8 shutty. Taiwan, our guy, matched him 7 1/3 shutout innings. Lots of nice defense in this game. Castro had the go-ahead 2-run homer in the 9th. It was his first homer of the season. Guys, even after that, he's got a 13 OPS plus. A 13. That's not what you want. So Astros go on and sweep. They do the damn thing. We've been talking about how good they've been. Moving on, the Brewers, my team, my World Series victors, go down to Tampa Bay, and they sweep a 2-game set. 5-3, 5-3. Is that showing good fortitude, Jake? It's sort of like fortitude, right?
Nope.
Woodruff comes back from the IL, 5 innings pitched, 10 Ks, no walks. He hit 99 point something. He's healthy again. McCutchen with the go-ahead 2-run homer in the 6th. Urias also hits one in that inning. Both absolute hangers. Rays threatened a little bit. They get it to 5-3, but guess what? The bad man, Josh Hader, comes in and puts them to sleep. Night. Rays game 2. Again, 5-3. There was some openers, but it was more the Rowdy Tellez show. Taylor Walls got the scoring going with the bloop 2-run double off the glove in right field for the lead in the 4th. Well, I guess Tellez had the solo shot in the 2nd. Urias with the go-ahead homer in the 5th, and Wander ties it up with a double down the line in the bottom half of that inning. But then Rowdy goes catwalk, baby. Puts him up in the 8th. Peterson with an insurance homer in the 9th, and then Hader does it again. This time he had a few base runners, but still gets the job done. Couple notes there. Hauser is being placed on the IL, and Ashby, though, will return tomorrow. We'll talk about Glass a little bit. He threw his first bullpen since undergoing TJ last August. And the last series, Tigers in San Francisco. The series is split. 4-3 Giants in game 1, 3-2 Tigers in game 2. Longo, my guy, in game 1, 2 hits. He had a 2-run single in the first. Yaz makes it 4-0 with a 2-run single into center. And then, the Tigers fight back. Miggy squeaks one down the first baseline. Candelarios and Castro get RBIs. But then Doval, your guy, Jake, comes in, slams the door. Game 2, Longo does it again. Solo shot. Oppo in San Francisco for Daddy Longo. Let's go. That puts lead in my pencil. Jake. Another crazy little play. Baez gets hit with Longo's bat that he breaks. Like, Longo's all over this. Yaz gets the Giants within 1, but then Gregory Soto finishes off the game, and the Tigers get the split, and that's kind of what happened in the... Easy day for me. We do not need to do any standings lookups here, James, because you already did that.
Two sweeps, two sweeps and a split, two gamers. Boring.
3 2-gamers.
Yeah. Verlander's so good.
Yeah, no, I mean, we talked about at length about how good the Astros are. You know, a lot of it has to do with their starting pitching, who showed out in this one. Verlander's another one of those guys like Wainwright. Like, how do you keep doing it, dude? Like, how do you keep doing this? Framber's been a guy. Yeah, the Castro. How crazy is that? And I talked to C Rose a little bit, guys, about the Astros and the catching position. Because if you look at what's going on there, you got Martin Maldonado, and I know a lot of guys like to throw to him, and he's a good, catcher, game caller, whatever. 36 OPS plus on the year. He's hitting 141. He's got a 210 on base percentage. Jason Castro, 13 OPS plus. He's hitting 115 with a 205 on base percentage. At what point do you start to value a little bit of offense behind the plate? Like, I guess they necessarily don't need it because they got other bangers in the lineup. But if you're looking for an upgrade somewhere for this team, that's one spot that you can say, wow, Wilson Contreras kind of fits that spot. Kind of fits the team, like the vibe. I don't know, man. Do you guys think that that's a move that they could make?
No, they love Maldonado. They do, and it works, man. They don't mess with the recipe, and they love Maldonado. I guess for a little bit it drove me nuts that center field they kind of haven't taken to Astros level, and that's not a shot fired at Jake Myers and Chas McCormick, and hey, maybe one of those kids gets it going. I think whatever their numbers and analytics and everything tells them is that catcher and center field, if you get defense from there and everybody else does your thing, it's going to work out, and it has worked out for them. So it's maybe still center field. Like, let me not pretend they're not too far away from George Springer, but I think of these Astros teams, and I think of Machete Maldonado behind the plate. They love him.
I do too. I'm just saying, like, if you look at the offensive numbers, they're atrocious, bro. Like, this isn't even like, hey, like, we can live with this. It's serviceable. It's like, no, you really can't live with that. You're just banking on everybody else in the lineup providing enough offense that you can overlook this. Like, this might be all-time bad for now, though. 2 catchers.
That's what teams are doing now.
Yeah. So, Mets don't feel too bad. The Astros are an absolute juggernaut.
Feel a little bad because the Braves are coming. Who did you say had a 13 OPS plus?
Castro, the
Jason
backup
Castro.
catcher. Which, by the way, his home run was pretty cool. The dugout went nuts, which that's always cool. And yeah, dude, like, he's a part of this Astros team too. I
know they got their guys behind the plate. The Mets only run. This is a nice little tidbit. The only run in these 2 games was a James McCann RBI walk in the 9th inning of the Game 1 blowout. So tough 2 games. It's 2 games though, right? Don't worry about that.
If we're talking Wilson Contreras, I think we're talking about the other team in that series and not Houston.
He fits a lot of places.
Yeah,
he
sure
does. I guess we can move on. Brewers, like the Rays of the NL, they're finding ways to win. They still have not got me my offensive upgrade that has been promised. They just said, hey, Rowdy's going to do it for you. I think the main thing in this series is Woodruff coming back and looking as good as he's looked. I think I saw a stat. He hit like 99.6 on the gun. It's the fastest pitch he's ever thrown. So you got to feel pretty good if your guy comes off the IL. You're always a little worried, like, how's he going to look? 10 Ks, no walks, and I throw the hardest pitch of my career. That is nice right there. And you get the offensive, you get some homers, like Urias is kind of like showing up a little bit. McCutchen hits the hanger. They don't need to score a lot of runs. We know that, but I think, that we're still waiting on the move. Okay. I keep saying that they still need to do that because you give the pitchers a break a little bit. My goodness.
Tampa loses. They're 15 games back now. And did they play yesterday?
I don't think they did.
Did they start their Toronto series? Like 5 games in 4 days?
Yeah, they've 4 more with Toronto coming up.
Okay.
What did they do yesterday? It cut out.
Oh, I don't know. I just saw their upcoming schedule.
They lost.
There you go.
They lost. Man, I think Tampa's going to bury themselves.
Trying to tell you.
I just looking at it, they have the least innings pitched from a starting pitcher. We know that. They have like the most innings pitched by relievers, but with all their injuries, I don't think they can be doing that anymore. You know, you lose a starting pitcher, you lose X amount of innings, and then you replace it with a starting pitcher that might be less than. You lose relievers. And did they blow both these games in the bullpen or late runs both times?
The Brewers were kind of scoring all throughout, you know. So I think if you look at Tampa,
but tied going into the 8th, game 2.
Yeah, how many guys do you think they actually consider starters on that team? Like most guys aren't like typical starters. You have McClanahan, maybe Boz.
Right now their fan graphs list 3 starting pitchers: McClanahan, Boz, and Kluber.
Oh, and Kluber, yeah. So like they just approach the game so differently with their pitchers. And Jake, you did say at the beginning of the year that it's going to catch up to them. I said that last year, did not catch up with them last year.
But I believe last year they were actually pretty normal.
Yeah, they had Glasnow, Yarby.
They had Waka, Yarby, Mac. I remember halfway through we were like, the Rays have the most innings. They had a lot of innings pitched by their starters last year. This year they have like none.
And I still think that's not the Rays' problem, man. They don't hit. They're bottom 5 in pretty much every hitting category, and they're kind of top 5 in every pitching category. The Rays find a way to get outs. I understand there's an argument that it's not sustainable throughout a season or potentially the postseason, although we've seen it get them to the postseason. Their hitting's dreadful.
Yes, but they used to win all the close games because they had the relievers. But I just think the crew they have, they can't rely on every single one every night.
A lot of people in the chat yelling at me about Yelly going off and their offenses looked good. I get it. That can happen for a few games, a week, whatever it is. If you're looking at me through this camera that I'm using and thinking that your offense is like fixed, it ain't. You need more. Yelly needs to keep going. McCutcheon needs to keep going, and then you need to add. And Rowdy just be in there too, you freaking stud. Yeah. Off the catwalk. Gotta love that for him. Then I guess we'll move on. Hater, sorry about it, 2 saves. Tigers at Giants. Did you guys see? I mean, it's a fun series, but I thought the Longo bat crack, Javi Baez, like it actually messed with the play. A lot of times you see those bats fly off and like it's close, but they don't mess with the play. Like he avoided it, but then stepped on it. It's pretty cool. I don't know why I like that so much. Kind of into it.
Not to gang up with you on the chat, Trev. I just looked it up because I was interested. Last 14 days, Milwaukee leads all MLB in team OPS. I agree with you. It's not sustainable. I didn't realize that they were going that off.
They need more, dude. Like it's just the bottom line. There's still a lot of games to be played. Hopefully Yelich, he has been looking really good. That is probably like the best thing you can hope for as a Brewers fan. Like,
I mean, 14 days. Colorado's up there too.
Hey, schedule watch. Brewers are going Pittsburgh, Chicago Cubs, and Pittsburgh. Don't get hot again, Milwaukee.
Do it.
Do it, though.
Longo goes off for the Giants, nice little series. Then there was an article. He's talking this might be his last year. Hope not. We love Longo. He is the guy that you want to be if you're an infielder. His career, like the way he works, everything. Love you, Longo. I'm going to give more shout out to Longo than everybody else. That's basically it, guys.
Let's get into it and give out some standout
Standout
Performances. Standout Performances are brought to you by our Warehouse Game YouTube channel. Big game for Jimmer Fredette tonight. If you're listening on Friday, a do-or-die game against Jack Doyle from We Got Ice. Winner goes on to the championship game. And our whole one-on-one league, the championship is next week. 3 games in 3 days. Go check that out. Warehouse Games. And then there's some more big stuff coming up there later this month, so get excited. Should I do my standout?
Yeah, get us off.
You guys know I'm a Vanderbilt man, in a way, and I'm going to a Vandy man. I'm going to our guy, Bryan Reynolds, who puts up a 3 ding-dong homer day to lead his merry band of Pirates. He has been a topic of conversation for a while. A lot of trade rumors this offseason. We're like, I don't know, there's a lot of years. Seems like he's pretty good. It was the only game they won that series. They won by 1 run. They won 8-7. Again, 3 homers. He had 6 RBI. So that's pretty impactful in winning that game. He had a slow start to the season. It didn't get going for him for a little bit. Then on June 9th, if I'm going to butter knife a little bit, the past 22 games, he's been 1-dotting, 358, 400 OBP, 7 homers, 2 triples, does a little bit of everything. And again, those kind of contributions from the center field position don't really exist, or / Trout and Judge are now changing the game. But Bryan Reynolds, he's a beast. I don't think he's on your trade deadline watch because he's a really good young player under control. And Pirates got a little bit of juice. It's not winning juice, but it's fun baseball with him, O'Neal Cruz. So Vandy men, stay Vandy man.
What kind of juice is it?
If
you had to name the juice the Pirates are drinking right now,
Flappy
apple juice.
It's Flappy.
Okay,
it's not getting you wins, but it's kind of fun.
Juice.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
John, you got a standout?
Nice word.
Chad Kuhl.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did it. Complete game. Shutout against the Dodgers in Colorado. A lot of times when I look at the potential standout performance list, I just make sure I go see who do they do it against. And a lot of times it's the likely suspects, the Tigers, the Royals, the Nats. You're like, I don't want to get my standout, like, just beating up on these guys. And then I looked at Chad Kuhl and I heard about it anyway, or saw it anyway. Just like the Dodgers in Colorado. That's impressive. He faced the minimum through 6 with the help of a ground ball double play, and then ends up facing 29 batters. That's actually how I sorted it. Was to see who faced the most batters with the least amount of hits. And he won this week. 3 hits. I think he faced 29 batters. Chad Kuhl.
He was only the 3rd, and in your standards there, I think it was only the 3rd shutout in Coors Field history with 3 base runners or left allowed. Something crazy like it's only the 17th complete game in Rockies history. And I don't think the Dodgers have been shut out by a pitcher since 2016. So Chad Kuhl, who, by the way, could be a little trade deadline guy.
Ooh, yeah, he's having a good year. I think the stat was 27 individual pitchers have done it since the Rockies came into the league, and was it 90, whatever the heck it was.
Yeah.
So pretty rare to do that there. So shout out Chad, and cool last name. Whoops. I am going with Sandy, and Jerry Blevins helped us out with this one again. So more Alcantara talk here. 9 innings pitched, 3 runs, only 2 of them earned. He had only 3 Ks, 2 walks, and it was the game where another time Don Mattingly's walking out there to take him out. He got into a little bit of trouble in 9th, and Sandy was like, get out of here, bro. Like, just, I got it. That's what he said after the game. He's thrown 115 in the 3rd innings through 16 starts, the most since Cueto and Kershaw in 2016. This is the stat that James talk about your pencil and getting a little lead in it. He's gone at least 7 innings pitched in 10 straight starts. The most since Rick Porcello in late 16. He has the second lowest ERA, which is 1.95 in the NL, throwing nearly 20 more innings pitched than anybody else. Sandy is an absolute gem. Once with the Cardinals, and I'm believing that the Cardinals are going to regret this trade or already regret this one. They traded him, a couple other guys, and Zach Gallen to the Marlins for Marcell Ozuna. So Cardinals fans, I'm sorry, Sandy's turned into, one of the best pitchers in baseball. Zach Gallen, not too shabby himself. And Marcell Ozuna played for you for 2 seasons and put up like a 107 and a 108 OPS plus. So sometimes awesome. The prospects work out for the other team.
His game log is one of the cooler things. It was Musgrove's, but he unfortunately allowed 6 earned runs, which he bounced back all right. But it is now Sandy's game log.
Do you
awesome?
Do we think he's pitching too much? You think it'll affect him come the end of the year? I don't know, man. It seems 20 more innings pitched than any other starter in the big leagues right now.
I wouldn't go by innings. I would go by pitches because he's efficient. Most he's thrown is 117. He's thrown over 110 only 4 times out of his 16 starts. He's thrown under 100 6 times.
It never looks like he's laboring out there either. I guess that's kind of the thing.
Easy. And that's the unknown. Like, how's he feeling? You'd like to see them mix in, if they had a blowout win and he was on the bump, mix in an 85 pitch day for me. But otherwise, let him be your horse.
No way. Let him go get
Jake
the Cy Young.
Storch in the chat says not like he has to pitch in the postseason.
Exactly. Let him go get his accolades. He's not pitching.
He's already got the deal, though. Also, Sandy, you already got your deal. Maybe that's what he's thinking. Like, screw it.
He's pitching for a Cy Young. I wouldn't mess with that.
Recent guest on Toe on the Slab.
Yes.
Sandy. All right. How long are we? I feel like we've been super long.
We are super long.
Let's just skip Fuego and all that.
All right.
We filled it up with a ton of good info.
People got their info.
Unless you want to rip through it real quick, Jake.
Can we just play the Dirt Nasties and Fuego sound clip and move on?
Sure.
Good week, Espinal.
Dirt Nasties on Fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
To awards. Kelsey, bring us to awards.
Awards.
That's.
I miss Kelsey. When are we going to see Kelsey? Is she coming to the All-Star game?
Sure is.
Mm-hmm.
I will lead off awards. Awards are brought to you by Trevor's Penis in Magnum Condom Studio. My first award struggled with the name, and it's going to be a roller coaster. Always is, right? Is it double or is it half? Not to get a little meta on you guys. There's a lot of drama this week in baseball. Freddie, Casey Close, it's still ongoing. We don't know where we stand. We don't have the receipts. Jeets does, probably. And it was all about Frederick, and he really actually wanted to stay from Atlanta and was an offer hidden from him, blah, blah, blah. Who's caught in the shrapnel of this but my guy who's dating my daughter, Matt Olson. Tall, handsome. He got sent over to the Braves. He signed the big extension. Again, how that all ties into Freddie. In the words of Joe's McFly, if he was Matt Olson, he'd say, that's none of my business. Matt Olson, he had kind of a mid-month for him. OPS was still in the high 7s, but he's an elite ball player. And something jumped out with me with Matty Olson. And, he elbowed Freddie the other day, starting shit, obviously. My guy, Matt Olson, he switched leagues, and that's always tough. You see a lot of new pitchers, and the more you see a pitcher, the more advantage the hitter gets and all that stuff, etc. His numbers are a tick down from where you'd want him to be on the season, but maybe that's first half adjusting to new teams, new stadiums, etc. like that. One thing was blowing my mind. Matt Olson, who has bold on his Baseball Reference 3 times, all games played, so we like that. And he's currently got that this year. He has a new bold category, and it's not what Matt Olson's known for. He has 31 doubles this year. Matt Olson's career high in doubles is 35. He's played 77 games, half a season. He's on pace for 60-plus doubles. I'm interested to see how the rest of this story develops because, my guy hit 39 ding-dongs last year. A couple of those doubles I'm sure are going to start turning into homers. But I was laughing, and that's where I landed on, is it double or is it half? Because he's hitting doubles, but I think he's normally hitting home runs. Kind of wild stuff. I think a couple more of those balls are going to start leaving the yard, and we'll see Matty Olson's OPS and a couple other numbers start to climb. But I thought that was pretty wild. Matt Olson, who's got a good baseball sample size this year, it's a doubles fest, and he's normally not that guy. So I think they'll start leaving the yard. He had a couple big games as this Freddie drama started to unfold. But a little love for my guy, Matty Olson, date my daughter.
When you have a daughter, are you going to tell her that she has to date Matt Olson?
We'll see where he's at. We'll see where she's at,
All right.
I always took it as more of a request, not a binding statement.
Maybe she's going to be too hot for Matt Olson.
He'll be probably
Make a guess.
60, and she'll be like 23. I don't know. I don't know, Manny.
Teddy Plouffe, date my daughter. That's what you should be saying, bro.
Keep your son's filthy hands away from my daughter. James?
We think that's just juice balls?
No, because he's got homers during the juice ball season, or the non-juice ball seasons. Last year he hit 39. He hit 29 in 2018. So I don't know if it's just pure baseball gods, or I'll ask Braves Nation to sound off in the comments.
It's left center. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 doubles this year. That'd be homers at the Coliseum.
At the Coliseum.
Yep. Left center at the Coliseum bends in. And he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over there that are doubles, but if they was at the Coliseum, it'd be a homer.
Yeah, little road home stuff there, too. Either way, just a ridiculous number.
Well, I'm only looking at his home doubles.
Sure.
You don't think the Coliseum being the reverse?
Yeah.
They'll think of it as having a short part.
I had an award lined up. It was just like, and then I lost the tab. The AL East is so hard to pitch, dude. They see the most pitches and they walk the most. And I just feel like you always hear about how Red Sox and Yankees games take forever because there's so many pitches thrown. And I was like, why is it just those two teams? And it's still an AL East thing, which is weird to me. Why does one division value that or do it so much better than everyone else? I lost the tab, so I don't have the info. But it was something about
So it's pitches seen by AL East teams?
I was looking at walk percentage and pitches seen, and the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Rays, Blue Jays were all up there. And that's been a storyline about most of the Yankees and the Red Sox forever, is that they take a lot of pitches, they work the count, all that shit. I was like, why is that a geography thing?
Across many coaching
veteran
too.
Do you think it's veteran rich, the AL East? Because that would be one explanation for it. As you get older, you learn the strike zone better. You understand what seeing more pitches does for you. Could be that.
Really good hitting teams in general. The Yankees are always good at hitting. Fenway, also a lot of good hitting. And with the Jays where they're at, maybe there's something there. But
a lot of stadiums where you can aim for homers and kind of wait for a pitch you can do real damage to. Something like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Interested.
All right. My award is the this, not that award. Now, a couple guys that I just want to quickly mention. This will be this portion of this award. Andres Jimenez having a banger of a year. Need to see him in the All-Star game. Cleveland fans always want us to talk more about him. 355 OBP, 502 slugging, 858 OPS from your second baseman. Or is he playing shortstop right now? Second base. Doesn't matter. The guy's a stud. Talk about him. Ian Happ, not happy with us. He wasn't all JM team for June. Talk about Ian Happ and what he is doing there. Get him to the All-Star game. 2.5 WAR. He's got an 839 OPS. I call him 9-figure Ian for a reason. He's a stud. Also, Paul Goldschmidt. Has there ever been a guy putting up numbers like this that we just don't talk about enough? Leads the entire big leagues with a 342 batting average and a 424 on base. A lot of other bold going on there. 96 hits already. OPS plus of 200. Let's talk about those guys. This and not that, which being Rob Manfred trying to put out the fluff piece, which did not come away as a fluff piece. And I wonder if he regrets this, because I don't know if you guys have read the article. I went through it and I was hoping that I would just get to see more. It was like Manfred trying to explain that he went to a baseball game with his dad, and that shaped everything. He loves baseball, even though he never actually says in the article he loves baseball. He tries to imply that. But what he did say a few things. I did touch on this on Baseball Today, but he wants to bring the game back to the way it was. I don't think people or young people in general want the game to go back to the way it was. We don't want the game to go back to the way it was in the 70s and the 80s. Like, that's not what you should be thinking as a commissioner. Forward thinking, Rob. That's what we need, dude. I had an extended rant on this on Baseball Today, so go check that out.
What aspects of the game was he talking about? And what does he mean
talking
by
about pace of play? Pace of play, which is, his MO. We get that. That's what he's saying. Like, guys got into the box, they got back on. And I agree, the pitch clock is going to be good for the game. But that's not going to get the younger audience in. And that's all they care about is trying to get the younger audience. Hey, how about you ask us? We know how to hit that demographic, and I can give you a bunch of reasons and ways to do it. You are not putting the game in front of the kids' faces like the way the NFL and the NBA do. Okay? Like, lots of stuff going on. I don't want to hear about Rob Manfred anymore. We heard enough about you in the 2 lockouts that happened in the last 2 years. We're over that, dude. Stop trying to write puff pieces on yourself. Like, let's just focus on the game of baseball and the players that are playing it and the teams that are good and the awesome fan bases. I don't want to hear the commissioner, who, by the way, admitted publicly, even though we all know this, that he's a protective piece for the owners. He said that's the job. And I said this earlier. That's not what I envision my commissioner. You're not just a layer protecting the owners. You should be trying to make the game better. Have baseball be your number one priority, not protecting the owners for some bad PR. I don't know. Talk about this, not that. Here I am talking about him.
I saw July 1st on the calendar today, and I was like, damn, how far we've come from lockout to now is pretty insane. And I don't know. For me, it was all water under the bridge when he got all the players those wireless headphones. So I'm good.
That's what I'm saying. He's going around parading around clubhouse to clubhouse right now, trying to make amends. Bro, you can't make amends. First of all, meetings during the season suck. And then you put Rob Manfred in front of you and make you sit down in the clubhouse. What do you think the guys that are, number one, they're either looking at him with scorn, or they're just playing on their phones. What is this, bro? A little too little, too late.
I have radical changes that I'd make to baseball that everyone that listens to this show would hate me for, that I've decided.
Well, that's the thing that he's come off as in this article. He's like, oh, it's going to be on my tombstone, the guy that tinkered enough with the game before they finally threw him out. It's like, dude, you're not doing what you think you're badass doing.
Well, every single change they make is revenue, and what I would want to do, they would never do, because I'm cutting a lot of revenue. And pace of play should be thrown out the window. I do agree with that, but balls in play should be the term that everyone wants to do more. And that's why I like Theo Epstein saying change the strike zone to wider, not taller, not regulate the shift. Like, I'm very excited. But I'd go to 100. I'd go to a 150 game season with a balanced schedule and with rigid midweek. So so fans know when, so they can build a routine out of it. And with less games, you get more off days. You get more stars playing and the star pitchers playing and you stop getting these like punt day rest lineups where your bench player has to play. And then you get a shorter season so you can expand the playoffs a little more. But I just think you need to build into a weekly routine. But there's so much money I'm cutting from there right away. And I love baseball. It's not like I want less games. I just think that if you really want people to be able to sink in, 162 4-hour games or 3.5-hour games is fucking
That's why
big
the NFL,
ask.
That's why the NFL rules, man. Like, people, they own Sunday. They own a day of the week. I mean, I'd like realignment. We've talked about that a little bit on this show.
We're getting a lot of this stuff. Like, we're getting the shift, which I think is going to help, and we're getting a balanced schedule, and we're getting some of that stuff. And if Theo Epstein moves the strike zone, that would be great. But if they want the playoffs to be as big as they are, then they need to cut the regular season down. And there's a lot of wins that come with that. Wouldn't it be cool if all the players played 148 games out of 150 again, like they used to?
I would 100% be down for no Monday games. I think players would love that too.
That's what I'm saying.
Like 154, I think you could still do that. You don't have to go down to 150. I think you do 154 and
whatever it is,
those Mondays off. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have a set day off and you have set like series and shit.
Yeah. Cause who's watching Monday? Like, nobody's watching Monday games. And like football comes around. They have Monday Night Football. They kind of own that day too. It's like a lot of things. Anyways, yeah, my whole point is like, Rob, bro, like, stop trying to like make people like you, dude. Just if you consider yourself like your job is to just protect the owner, just go do that, bro. Like, you don't have to be likable to do that. Clearly, you've shown that. I don't know.
2 more teams coming soon.
Yeah, I think that's a mistake.
Do you think I should talk to Rob, like seek him out at the draft?
Yeah. I think you guys would hit it off.
We might. He's a 7 handicap golfer, he said, which I call bullshit on that.
Okay. Maybe we'll give some time for you guys to talk.
What you don't know is you can just post any scores you want in your freaking, so. Yeah. And I don't know why you'd want to be a 7 handicap, then you golf with people like, you're not a 7 handicap. That's the worst thing. Whatever. Sorry. That's it.
Good golf award.
Taiwan Walker, best friend of the week. 7.1,
wow.
No earned. 3 Ks, 4 hits.
How about you? Good stuff. What's next?
Ready for it?
If the sheet's filled out, I am. The Stimulator Simulator, bringing you into Friday and the weekend. All right. Oh, once again, I don't like the way this is panning out. The Twins and the Guardians play the first wild card series. Division rivals meeting up in a best-of-3 set.
Cleveland.
Yeah, makes sense. And then the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. In this says it would be in Boston, but I thought I read otherwise.
I think as of today, it's in Boston.
Toronto, anyway.
Oh, wow. Okay. So then it would be the Guardians versus the Astros.
The Astros.
And the Yankees versus the Blue Jays.
Yankees.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. On the other side, the Brewers and the Cardinals meet up.
Brewers.
In the wild card. Ooh, wow. Interesting. Yeah. Go Brew Crew. The Dodgers are waiting and sitting and hoping the Padres and the Braves finish soon. Because they want to play. Who are they going to play?
They're going to play the Braves.
Dodgers, Braves in the DS. Mets, Brewers in the DS. Mets versus Brewers. Who wins?
The Mets.
And the Dodgers and the Braves?
The Braves.
Wow. Wow.
Braves-Mets.
Wow.
Braves-Mets in the championship series. Who's going to the World Series?
The Braves.
Run it back.
Oh, back to back.
Back to back. Back to back. Yankees-Astros?
The Astros.
I didn't hear it.
The Astros.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. Last
Make me
week
say
it was
it again.
Yankees-Braves. Now it's Astros-Braves. Who wins the World Series?
The Astros.
Ooh, wow.
Astros get revenge.
Oh, no. It's their second win in the simulator. Damn.
I'd like it.
I don't. Not a fan. Go Braves.
Enjoy your 4th, everyone.
No show on Monday, people.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, we gotcha.